So basically today I'm going to talk about what is a class. Today I'm going to talk about what is class. Okay. So till now I explained a lot of things. I can definitely teach you, don't worry, as a backup. Okay. So you can continue from here, object-oriented programming. It will be easy for you. If any new people joined, I can add you there as well. Okay. So object-oriented. What is class? Preeti, what is a class? In general, I am purchasing a car. We all purchasing a car, right? In general, we all are purchasing a car. What are all the common feature a car can contain? If you take any car, what is the common functionality? Steering is one of the common, okay. Hmm? Accelerator is another common functionality because without accelerator, no car will move. Without steering, no car can able to drive. Okay. What else?
Engine.
Engine. I think newly joined. Engine. Is there any other thing? Huh? Brake. Seat can be different model. They can customize, but that is not common, right? Fifth one is clutch. Can I say class is nothing but I can wrap everything under a class. Class car. Because the car class contained common functionality. Got it? A class may contain common functionality. What are all the common functionalities in a car? Steering, any car, it is a common. Accelerator, any car, it is a common. Engine, any car, it is a common. Brake, any car, it is a common. Clutch, any car, it is a common. This is nothing but a class. Then what is an object? To denote the car, I can say Hyundai. Hyundai is name of the model for a class car. All right. I can say I-10 for a class car. Or you got my point? You can extend the features by creating an object. So object is nothing but creating instance for a class. Object is nothing but creating an instance for a class. Now in technical, class contain variables, methods, properties, index, constructor, destructor. All these together you can have in your class. Technically, a class may contain variable. A class may contain method. A class may contain property. A class may contain constructor. A class may contain destructor. You got my point? This all together will be called it as a class. So let's do a sample class program. First point, step one. Step one, to create a class, we need to use class as a keyword. Class as a keyword. Right? How to create a class? Go to Visual Studio. Continue without code.
Sir, please share your screen. Hello.
Yes.
Please share your screen, sir.
Sorry. Will you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
File, new, project. Click on next. Sample underscore class. Hey. C# code snippet. Select folder. Create. What is the entry point of a class? Console application. What is the entry point of console application? Which method is needed? Huh? Main method. Without main method, can I run a program? No. To create a class, we need to create a class as a keyword. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Control Shift A. A window will come here. Okay. There you can specify classes further. You create a classes for okay. Listen carefully. Public integer add int x comma into y. Okay, I added a hey. Okay, now I added a class passing two parameters. Now okay, so return x plus y. Return x plus y. Now when I build succeeded. Now I have a father class. It's a separate entity in a namespace. Now, how to create object for the class? For that, I'm going to use father. Okay, and then my variable equal to new of father. This father will try to create a memory for your class, right? That is why it is called it as a reference memory. That is why it is called it as a reference type memory. Or you got my point? Value type is stack. On the day we discussed, right? Value type is stack. Reference type is class. Anything you work on class, it will be treated as a reference type. Or you got my point? So when the reference type will be created? At the time of creating an object. At the time of creating an object. Now, second step is I'm going to print. The problem is the shake out console dot write line the sum of two number is I'm passing the result. comma, enter father dot. You see, there are list of methods available. One is equal, get hash code, get type, toString. But as part of your father class, you added only one method called add. How come the other methods are coming? How come the other methods are coming? Because this class will be inherited by system.object class. Any class you create, the system.object class will identify, yes, this class contain a program. Okay, now here I'm going to pass 20, 10 dot. Okay, and then console dot read line. Priti, you understand? Nitin, Priti?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now run the program. You see, I got a sum of 30. Sum of 30, I got it or not? Now, sir, can I create another instance and try to access? Yes, you can create. You can create n number of objects for a single class. How are you going to differentiate from one object to another object? For that, you will have a method called, see, console dot write line, the memory of object. What you are going to do? This is your object. Copy this. Okay. Yes. What I'm going to do here is, comma, enter father dot get hash code. Get hash code is a value of context. Okay. Now right click, go to definition. Where it is coming? In which class it is coming? Object class. It means that when you declare a class, any class which you created on your own will internally call a system.object class by default. See, support all classes in .NET framework hierarchy and provides low-level service to the derived class. This is the ultimate base class of all classes in .NET framework. It is the root of the type hierarchy. It is the root of the type hierarchy. See, it is an interview question. What is the purpose of system.object class? What is the purpose of object class? So your first answer is object class is used to will be treated as a root directory of base class in the .NET framework. When you make any class, the object class by default will get connected. Or you got my point? So that is the one of the interview question. And now if you go to the program, I'm trying to create another object saying that father1. And then I'm going to use father1.hash code. Now, if I run the project, you see whether the memory of father and father1 will be same or different. It is different or not? So
Yes,
I have a class which contain common method, but I'm creating object with the different memory spaces. I got my point. So this is the ultimate goal of class and object. How the class can be identified with the help of system.object object class, where system.object class will be treated as a base class of .NET framework hierarchy. Or you got my point? Or you got? Now you understand what is the class and what is object. So let's do some theory. Because I'm a faculty. Okay. Your requirement, I'm a faculty, have a knowledge of C#, ASP, SQL, ADO.NET, HTML, CSS. We may require only C#.
Sir, your voice is breaking. So can you please repeat?
No. What I'm saying, I'm a faculty of .NET, full stack .NET faculty. Okay. Treat me as a class. Okay. So as part of the class, what are the knowledge I have? C# I have, ADO I have, SQL Server I have, ASP.NET MVC I have, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap I have, Azure DevOps I have. Okay, this is called full stack .NET. Now coming to the point of, you are requesting only ASP.NET MVC. That means that you are using my resource as a carbon copy for your need. Like that, in a class, you may have 20 methods. You may have 20 methods, 20 properties, 20 variables. Will you going to use all the methods and properties? Is it really required for your project?
No.
No need. What is needed, you are going to use it. For that, you have to create an object. Similar way, this guy Chaitanya will try to create another object for him by creating memory for my instance. Or you got my point? He going to use certain properties. And our brother, Pranit may can have 20 properties. Preeti may can have 5 properties. Nitin may can have 2 properties resource with the different parts. That is called people are creating a number of objects. Let's take an example of car, what we discussed. Car has a common feature, accelerator, engine, brake, everything is common. But when you look from the outside, will you going to call it as a car? No, right? What you will call? You will call it as i10, you call it as Santro, you call it as Hyundai, something like that, right? Is it an object or is it a class? Okay. But they are using the same class definition, right? Are they using the same thing, right? So that is the difference. You got the point, what you are asking. So to create a class, we need to use a class as keyword. Second thing, class may contain n number of variables. Class contain, I can put this statement here. Okay. And when we create a class, when we create a user defined class, it will be automatically derived from system.object base class. System.object base class. Where system.object contain certain methods in it. Certain methods and properties to define or to denote the class. To define or denote the class. Right? Am I right or wrong? So without creating an object, you can able to inherit it. I got my point. And as part of class hierarchy, system.object class always be considered as considered as base class. Always be considered as base class in the .NET framework predefined. .NET framework predefined. Because this system.object class comes from .NET framework. System.object class comes from .NET framework. Now coming to the fifth point, to create object, how we are going to create the object? Father is equal to new of father. New of father. I got my point. Father is equal to new of father. I got my point. So this is how you are going to create object. In this object creation, there are 4 steps involved. I will explain how those 4 steps are involved. Okay. First one is declaring a variable. Father. Declaring a variable father class father. I got my point. So how to declare a variable? This is how you all declare. Father. Got my point. Second point is father constructor will be executed. Father constructor will be executed. This is my second step. In a single line, there are 4 steps involved. First step is you are declaring the variable. Second step is father constructor will be get invoked. Third step is new is a keyword. Will try to create an object. That means allocating a memory. In a RAM, new is the keyword, will try to create an instance or object. Okay, that means it is trying to create a memory reference. Fourth one is after creating a memory.
Hello, sir. I can't able to see your screen. Is it for me only?
Preeti sir is leave the session. Please wait.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it's facing for me only. That's it.
Okay. And where are you from?
Hello.
Yeah, Preeti, where are you from?
Hyderabad.
Okay, why don't you come to our offline classes?
Oh, sorry. I'm doing online classes only.
Or working out a student?
Sorry.
Are you working?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. Now, after creating the memory, that memory will be assigned to the variable. Father. Because your first step, you are creating a father variable, right? Declaring a father, right? That declaration you are assigning the variable father. Right? So this is called creating object. How do I prove, sir? You have 4 steps. Can I prove now? Now what I'm going to do in my program, in the father, I'm going to create simply a constructor. Right? This is my constructor. I will explain constructor tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Today, just understand. I'm going to say console dot write line father constructor executed. Father constructor executed. Okay, tomorrow class I will teach you. Now, save this, go to program. Just listen here. I'm putting a breakpoint. Now here I'm going to do one thing, saying that I had 2 variables. Clear? I had father declaration and then father is equal to new of father. Now you see here, I'm putting a breakpoint. Now try to start. See, it is declared a father variable. Now you see what is the value you have in the father variable? It is null. Father is null because you are not yet created any object. I'll tell you. Control Alt Q. I'll tell you. Okay. Now function F11. You see here. Which one is executing? After declaring the variable, constructor is executed. Now you see whether you got the value. Still it is null. Memory was not created. Then if you press F11, new keyword will try to create an instance. You see, you got the instance or not? You got the instance or not? So this is how 4 steps are. First one is declaring father and then invoking the father. New is the keyword will help you to create a memory. That memory will be assigned to the father variable. Clear? Proved? Priti, you understand? Priti.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nitin?
Yes, sir.
Now you got everything same. Close it. Clear my point? Now, how many times the father constructor is executing? Why it is executing 4 times? Now it is correct. See, 2 times father constructor executed because you created 2 variables. Variable 1, variable 2. When you are trying to create object, 2 objects are trying to.
Your voice is not clear that much.
When you are trying to create an object, 2 objects are creating, right? Father 1. Am I right or wrong? Father will try to create an object means before creating the object, it is calling a constructor. Father 1, again I am trying to create an object, what will happen? Father constructor will get executed. Or you got my point? Once the both father 1 has been executed, now the sum of 2 number you called that object. And then you are getting the hash code of instance. Or you got my point? So this is how father will be executed. Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay. Now let me give you some small example on constructor and today we can close it. Constructor. It is a member method of a class. Constructor is a member method of a class. Or you got my point? It is a member method of a class. And one more thing, I'm removing everything here. Listen carefully. This is my class. Okay, I have father class, I have program.cs file. You got my point? So what I'm saying, constructor, it is a member method of a class. Second point is constructor name is same as class name. No, you want to talk anything? What? Searching means for subject or what? What do you want? What definition? You don't need to do anything, just listen. Then you can go ahead and do it. Otherwise, you will lose the focus. Constructor name is same as class name. You got my point? See, if you say constructor, what will happen? If I use public father, this is my constructor. If I change my constructor as 1, it will not work. See, what is this? Method must have return type. Other than class name as a constructor, it will be considered as a method. Now, if you run or build, it will throw an exception. What is the exception? It will be treated as a method. Or you got my point? So always your constructor name is same as class name. No doubt at all. Clear? Now go back. So you have to say constructor name is same as class name always. This is your beautiful point. When the constructor will be executed? When the constructor will be executed? Before
Creating object.
Before creating a memory of an object, constructor name will be executed. Constructor will be executed. If the constructor will be executed, when your constructor will be executed,
Hello, sir, your voice is not coming.
when the constructor will be executed, huh? Before creating a memory, before creating a memory or object, before creating memory or object, constructor will be executed. Okay? Before creating a memory or object, constructor will be executed. Why do you need a constructor for a class? Anything you want to initialize value for a class, anything you want to set up or initialize dynamically for a class, you have to use constructor. Got my point? I will show you that demo by tomorrow. Okay. Fourth point is when we need to initialize before processing or before creating an object, we have to use constructor. Example, in the project, I'm going to create a config. You see there is an app.config. Here in the app.config, there I'm going to use app settings. Okay, I'm having a app settings. This is the configuration value under which add key param value equal to 20. I want to read this value dynamically for this class. What I will do here, system dot, before that you need to call that one. Under the namespace, here you can say using system dot configuration, right? Using system dot configuration. So this namespace will help you to read the data from app config. Or you got my point? This namespace will help you to read from app config. The father class configuration manager, configuration settings dot app settings of the collection. What is the collection? What is the value we given? Param. Read the param. Go to father class. Use it. Then you declare a variable private int config value, something like this, and you go and assign that config value here. You are going to use config value equal to convert dot to int 32 of right. Config value. Now you go and do a program.cs file. Father equal to new of father. Now put a breakpoint here. When you run, you see function F11. Config is read. Config is read. Before I need to create an object, I need to read the config value. Something you want to set common for the class, you can write that common logic in where? Construct. Or you got my point? Where? Tomorrow, if I want to change the value, how to do that? So now I'm going to say console dot write line of the config value is, okay, the config value is comma underscore config value, right? Now build the project, right click, open containing folder. Now you are in the folder, go to bin, go to debug. You see there is a config.sample class exe.config. I'm right click, edit with notepad. The param value is available or not? Now I'm changing this as 100. I am saving. Save. Close. When I execute, this exe will give me 100. See, it is reading 100. This is the purpose you are using constructor. Clear my point? So anything common to the class, we have to go for constructor. So what is our notes? When we need to initialize before creating an object, we have to use constructor. The purpose of constructor is to set or initialize the data or reading value from the configuration. For example, you are connecting to the database. I have dev database, I have QA database, I have production database. Will the database URL will be same for all the three? Because it all in different machines. So every machine have its unique name, right? So what you will do? Where you will put that particular connection string. So every time when you are deploying, you will go and write in a code. That is not a good practice. What you will do? You will keep that in the configuration. You will keep that in a configuration. Am I right or wrong? So to read that configuration, where you will call that method? In your constructor. In your constructor, you can read that configuration. So that is why reading value from the configuration. Not only database. Take an example of file path. In your project, you are uploading documents, images, everything. Where it will go and store in some file system. Will you have the same file system for all the three environments? Will you maintain? That is not a best practice, right? Every environment will have its own file path. Or you got my point? So if you are changing that file path, when you will read that file path? At the time of construct. Or you got my point? So keep that in mind. Where to use what? Preeti, understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's all for today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about types of constructor. When you go for types of constructor, there are two types. One is instance and non-instance constructor. When I say instance constructor, public, private, default, copy, parameterized. When I say non-instance constructor, static. I will teach you all the constructor in tomorrow and after tomorrow. Okay? So for today, we'll meet you by tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.